Hi, this is Adam Gretzinger. I'm the chair of Highland NAC. Welcome, everyone. We do have a quorum tonight of board members, so we can get started on time. And we have some special guests, and I front-loaded their work on the agenda early, so we don't have to take up your whole night. But let's just have the board members introduce themselves, and then we'll get moving on with the agenda. Konnette, Reggie, and then Juanita.
I'm Konnette Etheridge. I am the recorder for the NAC and have been in the neighborhood, grew up around here, but have lived in Highland neighborhood for the past 20 years.
Hi everyone, I'm Reggie Frumkin and I'm the vice chair of the Highland NAC. I grew up in the neighborhood and I have come back here after college to continue living here. Thanks for coming.
Hi everyone, I'm Juanita Copperanis and we have lived in the neighborhood for 56 years. In fact, we built the house and we raised our children here, and it's been a lovely neighborhood.
All right, and we do have just one guest that I didn't expect. We don't have code enforcement on the agenda tonight, but I can give you time at the end of the THPRD presentation. Mr. Vanderveen, if that's what you're here for. Do you need time on the agenda, or are you?
Hi, Adam. No, it's up to you. I was sent an invite, but I had not seen an agenda, so it's entirely up to you.
Yeah, we don't have any code enforcement stuff on the agenda, so if you want your evening back, we certainly could get you on next time if there's something pressing. But I wasn't aware that you'd be joining us.
Not a problem. I will, unless there's questions, I will see you guys next time.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Everybody have a great night.
You too.
Officer McCullough, would you like to take the floor, and I can give you presentation capability if you would like it?
Well, I looked on, it looks like we don't have, our crime stat analyst person has not put the crime stats available for January 22 of this year. So I'll send her an email. I'm usually pretty good about making sure she has it on there. So I'll send her an email tomorrow. So it should be on the interweb of like the Beaverton website tomorrow. So unfortunately, I don't have any crime stats to share this NAC meeting. But I was going to go over with the courts. The courts for the municipal courts are now open. So if you have tickets that you need to pay or any legal matters at the municipal court at Griffith, you can now go there Monday through Thursday, which is starting to hopefully get back to a little more normalcy with that. And then in addition, I'd like to talk about since it is tax season, this is around the time that we can start getting phone scams for IRS is a big thing. So be aware that if you get calls from the IRS, it's not the IRS. They usually never call you. In fact, they don't. This can be a big problem. They especially like to target elderly people. So if you're filing your taxes and you're elderly, be aware that, IRS people, they like to a lot of times bully, pressure you into it, try to go and get things like MoneyGram or go to Walmart, Western Union a lot of times. So that way you can send the money untraceable. Walmart and places like that are more aware nowadays with the fact that this goes on, that they're pressuring them. So a lot of them fortunately have been trained, but if you get someone that just doesn't care, then you can end up falling victim to some of those phone scams. So if you ever have any question or you feel like there's somebody calling from the IRS and they're really pressuring you and you're getting nervous, you can always feel free to call non-emergency and have one of us officers come and talk to you about the situation, or you can always stop by the PD and we can give you any guidance if it is legitimate or not.
And I think the other thing people seem to miss is that you can't be in a court action or sued without being served papers. So
Exactly.
your first contact's never going to be a phone call.
No, they'll send you a letter saying that, you'll get a letter from the IRS, and then that is also normal too, where you might get a scam where it might be a letter that might not be legitimate. And if that's the case, you can always, again, you can come down to the PD and we can do a little more digging. Cause I mean, I've seen some pretty legitimate letters working where like, I think one was from WSU from like Washington University, where it was like you need to contact us, and they had like official letter heading and everything. So if you have any question like, oh, I've never been to WSU, or why would I do this or that, you can all, like I said, you come to the PD, we can look at it a little more in depth, so that way we can make you feel comfortable. Like, yeah, no, this is a scam, so don't give them any information, because that can be hard, because it's really difficult, because a lot of these people are from overseas, so the chances of any legal action being taken against them is very low, just because the fact, like, if it's another country, it's it's a little beyond our reach. So I mean, that's about it, what I got for you guys for tonight, and unless anybody has any questions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I was just noticing there's quite a few lights out in around the street lights out. Do the police report those when they?
I can sure take down. I can follow up with like lights. About that. Where are the street lights at?
There is well, there was one on Wilson that's out, around Wilson that's out. There's one on my street, 31st.
Drew, would you like to cover that?
Yeah, it sounds like
Oh,
I saw a message with Drew for the code services.
I figured not all of us are out and about, and maybe getting a sporadic calls isn't as good as getting a batch of calls on that.
Yeah. The other way is you can go to the website and go to report a problem.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and that one will just route it to it's a generic one that can just route it to the right department. So that was with the city. That works for anybody, for anything. Because if you report it to the PD, I mean, I like I said, I could take it and call the lights department, but another way to do it would just be to report a problem, so that way they actually have a ticket. So because if they're busy that day and I let them like, hey, somebody's complaining about it, if they don't get to it and they don't remember, then then I don't want to hound them. That at least if there's a legitimate ticket in the system.
Oh,
can
no,
really
that
help
was my
out.
question, is if you guys happen to notice that when on patrols, could they report them? Because not everybody, some
Oh,
of these lights have been out quite a, people aren't always out of their houses at night and
yeah.
aren't aware.
Yeah, I mean, I can ask the other officers. The more thing we're concerned about is when we get lights out, like traffic lights, because that's more of a safety issue. With like when traffic's going, like if there's like a red light flashing, and then because that could cause an accident. But no, I do feel the concern for lights being out in the neighborhood. So, but I don't work on graveyard or swing shift, but I can make a note maybe to the sergeants and let them know if they see it to maybe report it. But like I said, the best thing to do is they're not their first priority isn't really looking for lights being out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe, Adam, I'm just thinking about maybe we could even send out an email with the public, with the report a problem number on it to people, just saying that if you notice the street light out, this is how you deal with it.
Yeah, because I can definitely see a nexus to there for crime happening, especially because like a lot of people that want to break into cars like more low lit areas. So it is beneficial getting those lights fixed, because then people don't like breaking into cars, for example, when there's a big bright light right above their head. So yeah, I can definitely see where it can be a safety issue where we could also address as well.
Okay. Well, maybe what I'll do, Adam, I can contact Miles and see if there can be a either something in the neighborhood letter or,
In our meeting announcement next week, or next month, we can put that in there in
Yeah,
the email.
okay.
yeah, and it looks like Code Services was nice enough to supply the link in the chat as well to report it online. So with that, if there's any other questions or any concerns. All right, well, you folks have a great night.
All right, thank you, Officer McCullough.
Yep.
And Drew, did you have anything to add, or did we miss anything?
No, that link that I posted is a great resource for any problem in the city, whether it's a light out, a broken sidewalk, a damaged, dangerous tree. That goes right to our desk, and we can immediately route it to the right person in the city. So that's your gateway to report any problem in the city.
All right. Now let's move on to the Park District. We have a presentation. Cindy or Holly, do you have something you want to show us, or should I display the park grant proposal that I had been sent?
Yeah, I think Cindy can speak to the letter, so I'll let her do that. And then I have the regular monthly update when you have a chance. So Cindy, if you want to go first, that's great.
Sure, absolutely. Happy to. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. So I'm the grant specialist with THPRD, which means I get to help raise money for our projects and programs across the district. So one grant we have coming up is to support development of Raiz Park, which is on Lombard, just sort of south of Allen. And I have a concept plan that I can share here so you can see. So that's the concept plan for the park that was developed through extensive community engagement. And this park, the land was actually acquired in 2020 with a grant. So we got a $650,000 acquisition grant to support purchasing the property. And so now we're looking at a grant to support development of the property into a park. It is a 2-acre park, or I should say a 2-acre lot in a residential area there. And I can also put the link to the project in the chat before I'm done. But so, letters from the community are critical to these grant applications. The grant review committee wants to hear from, entities like the NAC or others that participated in, developing the plans for the park. And I understand that our public engagement team was somewhat involved with you all, and they recommended that you might be willing to write a letter, of which I sent a draft potentially for Adam to review. And so, every grant that THPRD gets is savings for the entire district for all of our residents. And so this just helps, get this project going and represents or could represent a cost savings to everyone in the district, in addition to creating a fabulous new facility close to your neighborhood. So if anyone has any questions, or Adam, if there's anything else you were hoping I would address.
I think you did address, the design is done, right? And the grant is written, so it can't be changed, right?
Well, the design is done, yes. This is the concept plan. There will be additional engineering and slight refinement, but this was developed through, different iterations and community feedback. But yes,
Okay.
This was approved by the THPRD Board of Directors in November.
From the other board members here, do you have comments? The letter that is being referred to is a feedback from the NAC to a state committee to ask them to give the grant to the Park District, and that's what it's about. it's pretty generic, and I can customize it with our NAC's approval if that is given. And this park is a little bit outside the NAC. It's on Lombard and what street?
Technically Baker Loop is the cross street, but it's just south of Allen Boulevard.
Okay. Other board members, do you have things you'd like to say or ask?
It looks great. I'm looking forward to seeing it completed.
Reggie, did you have anything? Or I know I had already received some feedback from Juanita that she wanted me to read. But Reggie, if you want to get anything in before I go to Juanita's feedback. Okay, maybe he's having audio problems. Okay.
Hey there. Hope it's not too late to chime in. I was having an issue.
Go ahead.
I love the concept plan. I get the need for grass. There are a lot of really important mature trees in there that must be prioritized for care instead of maintaining the grass. So I think it's really important that the park district employs best practices with establishing and maintaining turf in the long term in the canopy and presence of mature evergreen trees, just so that we protect the trees as important assets that they are, and not, try to prioritize the grass at the expense of the trees.
Yeah, Reggie, if I could, I just wanted to say this is Holly Thompson, and I wish the concept plan actually showed the trees on there. I'm going to make a note to talk to staff about that, because that is definitely your sentiment. It was very much echoed in the community engagement work, and it is the intent to preserve as many of the trees as we can. It's also, the participants in all of the community engagement got to talk about themes and what the feel and the uniqueness of the site. And that's why, like, the play structure will have a nature play theme. People really talked about the importance of the trees, the tree canopy, and the natural play aspects of the site. So absolutely, we're right there with you.
Thanks, Holly. It's really exciting to hear that the community has echoed those concerns.
Yeah, absolutely. Deep appreciation for the natural beauty of this site. And in fact, La Raiz as the name was somewhat chosen in recognition of that, right? It's like the root, and really speaking to the roots of the trees in the area, and a lot of love for the trees came in concept of that name as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely support the park and the grant.
Okay, and I wanted to get to Juanita's feedback. In general, so she supports the park. It looks like she's asking for an interpretive map to be part of the plan, so that people know what trees, what facilities are there, and I guess sort of an education piece is maybe what she's getting at there.
Y'all are just like in tune with our discussions on this site. So there's lots of discussions going on from a planning perspective about the importance of doing more for interpretive signage. The last couple of years have obviously been very awful, and energies focused in getting through the pandemic. But pre-pandemic, we were looking at trying to embark on more of an interpretive signage plan. That work has gotten shelved because we just don't have capacity right now to get there. But having this site have interpretive multilingual signage is absolutely something that I think you will see in the final plan, because we talked about this one will need a kiosk with some interpretive signage. And we might want to make this some sort of pilot for how we want to move forward doing that work. So absolutely, that I believe will be a part of what you see when it hits the ground.
And as far as Adam's feedback, we have a lot of open grassy area outside of Park District. And I think what we look to the Park District to provide is shade to get away from the sun. And we don't need more open areas that have no shade. And it would be good to have, if we think about what future parks are going to do, make sure that there's a tree canopy, it's well shaded, and it's a place to escape the sun. I think that would well serve the community, and it oftentimes these kind of joke of a tree that get planted street side, they're too tiny, they don't provide enough shade, and a nice 2-acre parcel would have been a place to have very large format trees and give people an escape from the sun. That said, I just want to, oh, Juanita is raising her hand. You can press *6 to unmute yourself so you can talk, Juanita. Juanita? It's *6. Okay, I think she might be having phone troubles. What we need to do now is authorize the chair to write a letter in support of the grant if the board feels that that's necessary, or feel that that's that we could do that. The grant review is happening on the 18th, so time is of the essence to get a letter together, and I'm willing to do that. Is there discussion on that sort of a thing? And since the chair can't make the motion, I would need someone else to make that motion.
I'd like to make the motion, or I move to provide Adam, the chair, or with the authority to compile a letter in support of a grant for the development of La Raiz Park.
I can second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I saw Konnette raise her hand.
But
Juanita,
do we have? Mhm.
Juanita, you have to press *6 to talk. There you go. We can
Thank you.
hear you if you talk now.
Aye.
Okay, Juanita votes yes. And it's a Raiz? Okay.
Yes, yeah. And in fact, as soon as I stop sharing the screen, I'll put the link in the chat, which has the pronunciation on top, but that's correct.
Okay.
And the project website, you can, I believe, sign up for updates or check back for more information. And no doubt, once we have this part completed, we'll invite you all to the grand opening.
When
And
is the expected completion if the grant is approved?
hopefully in 2023. It would likely be toward the end of 2023 with the construction happening in the summer.
Can I ask
Okay.
a question? Is there any underwater that has been channeled underground in this area?
No, there's no groundwater concern. So we actually got the grant that we got, the first grant was a federal grant. So we went through extensive environmental review of the site, including like archaeological and historic resources. And it has been clear there are no concerns or red flags on the site.
Thanks.
Is the grass going to be irrigated?
Most likely, yes. Mhm.
Okay. And this isn't an area where purple pipe water is available. The city's non-drinking water.
That I would have to check on.
Okay. I don't know if you've heard of that, but the city has an alternate water supply that is not treated with chlorine and is cheaper and it's better for irrigation. Okay.
Look, sorry, it looks like there's also a comment in the chat saying, could we have it so there is no summer irrigation if possible?
I can certainly relay that back to the district, and I think Holly might be able to speak to that, but that probably goes to more of a maintenance plan and policy level than construction and development.
And I would say we're in the early stages of working on climate action plan. So I think you'll see a lot of work coming out of the district relatively soon, kind of grounding all of our policies and our work in this area. So stay tuned. They're in the early stages of scoping that out.
Okay. All right, should we move on to the regular Park District update? And thank you, Cindy. I will be in touch.
Thank you so much.
Okay, well, I'm Holly. I'm here tonight covering for Juan, who is working. He is at our Centro de Bienvenida event, which is a pre-registration event that we do to help our English language learning community. So it's been a very busy week helping those folks get ready for spring reg. So you get me tonight, but Juan should be with you next month. No surprise, like every employer out there, we are hiring, and it's time for us to start focusing on summer hiring. So lots of jobs, lots of opportunities, lots of flexible hours. If you're looking for something, if you have people in your circles that are looking for something, we appreciate you pointing them in our direction. Spring registration is coming as well. So you might have gotten your postcard in the mail or started to see our stuff out there about spring reg. In-district registration will be on Saturday, February 26th, following with out-of-district on Monday. Those are for classes that run from March through June. There will be a survey at the end of this registration. So when you register, we are thinking about changing the day of registration in the future. So we will be asking for participant feedback and looking to maybe change registration, moving it from a Saturday to a weekday in the fall, but no changes until we get input from the public on their views on that. The spring native plant sale starts this month. So those go on sale. There's over 100 different varieties of plants to choose from. It's a really important fundraiser for the Tualatin Hills Nature Center and Nature Park. The plants will be available on sale from March 15th through February 15th through March 15th. And then you pick up your plants in April at the Nature Center. Preschool registration opens this month. We do offer a full 9-month preschool program throughout the year, and families can start registering this month for the next school year. We are looking for middle school cross-country and track coaches. So if you have cross-country or track coaching experience or know folks that do or want to volunteer, we need lots of folks for those programs. Lots of people are asking what's up with Conestoga Pool and when will construction be done? We're almost there. So construction should finish up by the end of this month and the pool should be back in action in early March. Conestoga, when they get that date nailed down, will be having a welcome back to the pool celebration. So stay tuned for that. We are definitely in planting season. So maintenance is out in full force planting. Hopefully not wimpy trees, Adam. We'll hope they're planting some good ones for you. Get some good shade canopy out there. And then also we're getting calls still for about debris and things that are down. So just like at the city, we have a report and issue too. So you can just go to our homepage, go to the bottom, report where you're seeing things. We'll get out and clean it up. And then finally, we're in the final planning, permitting, design stages for our next dog run. This one will be in the city of Beaverton at Ridgewood Park, and planning work is well underway, and we hope to be in construction later this year. So another fenced off-leash dog option coming to Beaverton. And that's our update for the month. I'm happy to take any questions, and otherwise just thank you for your time.
Holly, could you stay with us for a minute while we talk about Taliesin Park?
Sure.
I just want to pull that forward on the agenda. And Konnette ran with a volunteer coordinator native plantings in Taliesin Park this past weekend. All those
Awesome.
flags, little shrubs went in. And Konnette, would you?
Sure. And this was part 4 of a 4-part series to prepare this area. This little Talisman Park is just a strip of natural, of a natural type of a park that is in the middle of actually one of our HOAs. You can see the houses on the other side there. And we had at an ivy pulling event discovered that there were ground nesting birds in this area, and requests from residents that we be considerate of that. And then in continuing to work on the ivy problem, and we began working with THPRD, and they were a good partner to change this, upgrade this to a habitat restoration project instead of invasive species ivy pole. So what you see of those flags there, that includes like currants, Oregon grape, and different native plants. We planted 250 of these starts on that day, and we did that with about 6 people.
Wow.
Most of our events, the previous events, we had we'd had 19 people and people showing up that didn't register, and a lot of eagerness to work on this project. And February's, I'm told by THPRD, is notoriously difficult to get volunteers out for. So we had, including Adam and Reggie and myself and the people you see there, Tina and Aaron, I think that is, just kept pitched in, and we were able to plant all 250 trees, which is amazing. The ground was perfect. Was really satisfying to get that done.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Wow.
Now, Holly, would it be possible for you to take 2 concerns, maybe to someone about
Yeah,
this
of
park?
course.
There is poison oak growing in the park, and the volunteer coordinator indicated that it could not be removed. It's near the trail, but not on the trail. I would hope that we could get it killed and removed. And the other thing is, we planted all these plants, and it would really be nice to see some sort of signage, new plantings, so people don't, something to encourage people to stay on the paths, so they don't trample all these new shrubs.
The volunteer coordinator you talked to about the poison oak, was that Susan, or do you know who?
No, Crystal.
Oh, it was Crystal. Okay.
I talked with her about it, but she seemed to indicate that if it was, and part of the issue is that we've been between seasons, so it's not been as easy to identify its exact location.
Okay.
But they were going to, we had marked some, and they were going to look at taking care of the ones that were close to the path, right in back of where Tina's standing.
Okay.
Those 2 trees there. There was some, I believe there was some there, and then back a little past the project area.
Okay, well, Adam, I will commit to following up with Crystal. I'll follow up on the poison oak and get a little bit more information about that. That's new to me. The signage is easy. So I'm communications, so I can get you some signs. And in fact, volunteer services is in our same department. So I'm going to talk to them about getting them some ready to go signage every time we're doing plantings. So we just always have that day of. That's a really great suggestion. Thank you.
And you know, we had done some news copy before this, but it was a heavy news week, so it didn't get in. But this would be a really nice press release item, I think, of cooperation and how you can do a lot with just a little, even in a little area like this one, to impact habitat.
Yeah, thank you for that suggestion. We'll look into that.
Okay. Anything else on the Taliesin Park?
I just have it's the snacks and water came to $41. I bought enough to cover our usual volunteer load, and we can use them for other projects, but that was what the tally was.
And it's my understanding you already had authorization, so if you
From
get me the receipt, I can write you a check.
Okay.
All right, are we done with the Park District folks so we can let them get on with their evenings? Anything else for the Park
Thank
District?
you. Thanks. Have a good night.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, Konnette, are you ready for the BCCI update? And I'll stop sharing this.
Yeah. So this, the meeting was on the 24th. We spent quite a bit of the time welcoming our new members. I think I mentioned the last time that Bintu Fode is our new chair. Ellen Russell will be back her up as the vice chair. Aaron Lair continues as our treasurer, and Jonathan, I don't have Jonathan's last name, is our recorder. We had a report from Nadia Hassan from council. She talked a bit about the December 11th retreat, which they were to work on priorities. They did identify some priorities, but she was feeling that they needed to be fleshed out more, and that would be something that the city manager would be working on. It looks like one of the priorities that affects us directly is the community wellness priority. So that is where BCCI and the NAC neighborhoods would come in as in the city Beaverton planning. Other things were like developing a welcoming community, good government, public safety, housing and economic prosperity, business quality, infrastructure, environment and sustainability. And then, like I said, the community wellness and fun they added. And the next item on the agenda was an update about the revision of the website. They've been working on that. They've been doing some community engagement and outreach related to that, and finished that piece and began doing some prep. It was the plan now is for an April go live, and I liking the direction that they describe as what drives the website is going to be more from the user perspective than what you see as, as a department by department. But there is a certain amount of intelligence in the new system to be able to monitor what people are coming to the website for. And developing the website around those lines. So you would have a home page that would have what they called headless headless management. So it's not like just a description of individual departments, but of the services that the users are looking for and wanting to find. So they described that this is about a 3 to 4 year overhaul of the system, and that in the past, what they found was that this past year that 831,554 visits occurred to our site. People spend about 2.5 minutes, usually visit just one page, and about 44% of them are from the inquiries are from a mobile phone site, and about 60% of them are from a computer. This also, changing the website also gives them a chance to update the city branding, and they are working on what that will look like. And it will also be able to utilize some translation features, so pages can be translated into many different languages versus the 1 or 2 that we have now.
Konnette, do you know if those will be auto translations or if they'll be like a high quality translation?
What it was described was kind of described to me was an auto type translation, but given that I have hopes that the functionality there and the user direction of the software that they want to use might give us a better than that function. We will see. I mean, I've been through enough of these system changes that a lot of them sound good at the beginning, and then they just need a lot of R&D to get it really working as well as hoped. But you know, there's a lot has happened in the website field, so I'm hoping that we've learned a lot in the past years. So I asked about NAC visibility, and I mentioned that if we're basing that there might be some areas that we hope to get more traffic on, and if we use our past traffic patterns to develop what we hope to be our future website, that might have us missing some opportunities. And I brought up the NACs needing to be more visible, that's where the residents are, and what is some of our neighborhood websites are out of date. And as I think on our own Highland neighborhood one, there was the last minutes were from August. So you know, how do we increase the visibility of areas that may not have had that historically, but need it or could benefit from it? So they also questions were about are we able to use video content? That's been a problem apparently of embedding some video content. That was felt to be something very doable with this new system. So it's 3-phase project rollout, the prep, which is done, website migration from the old system to the new system, and they anticipate a March 15th to 31st go live. I would say let's use the system and find out how it works and what we like and don't like. They had a code compliance presentation, much like what we had in our last meeting, so I won't go too much more into that. And that was about it. They finished up with reviewing what the three subgroups for our new members, what our three subgroups are, and what they've achieved in the past year.
There's one other thing that I didn't hear you mention. Shannon Dunham has been reaching out to people for a survey. What do you know what that is?
Yeah, and that didn't come up at this meeting, but she has been apparently she has Sharon is also the person that's working on a collaborative approach to some of our NAC projects that we've reported on in this meeting. But she has also been hired and I'm not sure on what basis, if it's a project basis or how that exactly is, but to look at about communications and that sort of thing within the NAC system, how we interact with each other, what kinds of things that individual NACs are feeling they need or might benefit the neighborhood program and those kinds of things, and present and be able to present that work to the neighborhood program leadership. So she called me at one time and interviewed me, and it was with questions like, you know, what kinds of things helped, how is our membership doing, you know, just general kind of questions about what our experience in the neighborhood program is like. So
Okay.
I can
I will,
elaborate.
Elena,
sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah,
You
I can
probably-
elaborate a little more. So she is joining us in the neighborhood office. I think she's joined us like maybe a little over a month ago, and she's going to be working on a couple like research projects. And that also includes like reaching out to NAC board members about like the volunteering experience. And I also think she's helping with like the NAC board member orientation meeting and working on a couple other resource stuff. But she'll be with us for the next coming months. I'm not quite sure specifically how long.
Okay, so she's staff now. That's the part I maybe missed. Okay, thank you.
Well, and again, I think it's a project basis, isn't it, Elena? Or anyway, we can ask more about that later. I'm sure
Yeah.
she.
I'm not like 100% sure, but I know that she will be with us for the next couple or the next months.
Okay. We do need to keep the meeting moving. So let's move on to the next agenda item, which is the last month's meeting minutes. Do we have any corrections or concerns about the meeting minutes as posted? Hearing none, I'd be able to entertain a motion to approve them.
I move we approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Konnette, how do you vote?
Yes.
Oh. Okay, the treasurer's report. Real quickly, our balance in the savings account's $5. Our balance in the checking account is $592.43. That's $592.43. Konnette and I did update the signers to be current at the credit union this month, and we found out the matching grant reimbursement check got sent to the wrong person, so it's in the process of being reissued, and then we should have our funds topped off fairly shortly. And that balance was as of February 3rd when Konnette and I were at the bank. So it's just a week old. All right. Moving on to the next agenda item, the shred and cleanup event.
Yeah, are you still?
We can hear you.
Oh, my screen just went dark. Basically what I was wondering was, well, at the last meeting, we talked about people wanting to repeat the shredding event. And I said I might be willing to head that project. And so for this meeting, what I was wondering is what time of year or date that people were thinking it would be most successful. And also if some of the feedback we got was that the shredding trucks had a lot of extra room in them, and maybe we should consider inviting another NAC to join us on this project. And then third is we had delayed our dumpster event, and I'm wondering if we could include the dumpster event with a shredding event and what people thought of that.
As long as we can get a place to do it. I think we had to delay because of COVID in the school district. Right?
Well, yeah, we had a delay because the school district, yes, because their parking lot, which is where we did our first event, our dumpster event, wasn't available. And then subsequently for the shredding event, we were able to talk with the Nexus Church, who allowed us to use their parking lot.
Maybe we should make the Nexus Church the plan A this time. They have a lot of space and they're close to that major street. So we could do it with the NAC on the other side, or maybe even Greenway.
Yeah, I know.
That sounds like-
They were
that sounds
wonderful
like
to
a
work
good
with.
idea.
Can you repeat, Juanita, what you said?
I said, I think that sounds like a good idea. That shredding event was so good down in the church parking lot, and I would really like to see that done again.
Yeah, as long as we can get a postcard out, I guess, to get the proper advertising, we would need to make sure that we could have that on our postcard, a postcard.
I can coordinate. So at a time of year, do you think like the last time was not too bad, but it did get a little stormy at the end of the day. I'm not sure if maybe June at the earliest and maybe August or a fall date, but I don't know. Reggie, do you have dates in the fall?
I want to say that the planting is November 13th, Sunday.
Okay.
We need to avoid being too close to Reggie's planting event because we don't
Right.
want to use up all of our working funds. And we might need it for the twig grant. Every dollar we have in order to meet their spending model.
So I'm thinking August or September, that should give us enough time.
That sounds good.
Watson, my dog is. Okay, and then,
All right, we already did the Taliesin Park event.
I had, the other questions were, should we invite another NAC?
Yes,
Yeah,
we should. And maybe we should talk to the police department about them helping us. We are really close to the police department offices, and they sometimes have done these shredding events, and they might be able to help us with the getting the word out part.
okay. And there was one other question.
We could
And
also use the police department's parking lot if they would let us.
It's 8 o'clock and he gets it almost, he likes a treat at 8 o'clock and he starts asking for it at 7:30. So, oh, and then the last part of that was, is it, I'll look into, I'll look into what adding a dumpster and what that cost would be. And this will need a grant submission to do like we did last year. And
Okay.
that's it for now on that. And
So I think we finished the Taliesin Park event stuff. Is that correct?
yes, just the end was the $41.40.
Just get me the receipts and I'll get you reimbursed.
Excuse me, I'll be right back.
And Reggie, are you ready for the tree committee? If you have something to display, I can stop display.
Yeah, I'm ready. Nothing to display right now. I'll save the Schiffler planting update for later in the meeting. But just general tree stuff in the neighborhood. There's an upcoming bare root planting event through THPRD at Fir Grove Park this Saturday, February 12th from 9 to 11:30. Register at thprd.org/connect/volunteer/event1day, or just thprd.org. There's also a Friends of Trees planting event open to the public near Vos Elementary on March 5th, Saturday from 9 to noon, and register at friendsoftrees.org. And I'm still aiming for April 15th for the Twig grant. It's kind of far off, but still anticipating on making that deadline.
Okay. Do you know how this Friends of Tree event is funded? I'm wondering why that didn't happen over here.
Yeah, so the city funds a limited partnership with Friends of Trees. The city funds maybe 4 or 5 neighborhood tree plantings in the city per year, and each planting event is 40 trees. The city urban forestry division decides where those plantings happen. So Highland has had those in recent years, such as Taliesin Park in 2008, 22nd Street and 130th Street trees in 2011, and Highland Park Middle School front driveway trees in 2017. Right now, they've done a lot of work in Vos and maybe a little bit in central Beaverton.
Okay, so maybe they have a lot less tree canopy than we do, so they need it more.
Yeah, I don't know necessarily if they have less canopy, but I am confident that the tree canopy is decreasing at a faster rate in Vos and central Beaverton especially. So it might seem well canopied now, but in 10 to 20 years, as development really takes off, if our current codes remain as they are, then we're going to see a huge loss of tree canopy in those neighborhoods.
Okay. Konnette, you asked for this next item, the increasing membership item.
Yeah, I'm just, as we are going to probably head, I'm anticipating we may be heading back to virtual as well as in-person meetings. And this actually, we talked with about this from time to time at BCCI about the loss of membership over this past couple of years. They're probably, I'm wondering about how we can take advantage of our new virtual capacity along with in-person to increase our general attendance again at this meeting. I had kind of hopes that it would be, for people that have kids or that have time constraints of other ways, that keeping the virtual capacity would be, and I understand that that's what the city is anticipating us doing as well. But any thoughts about increasing membership or I mean attendance, I guess?
Yeah, I think one of the things is it's hard to find a Highland thing on the website and sign up for the mailing list. And for me to describe someone how to get on the mailing list is too hard. And I think if we solve that, that's one way to keep people engaged once we get them to one of our events.
Yeah, I think I agree. I'm still not on the mailing list. I've asked several times. Alan is, so I find out through him.
We could do something controversial. Then we get people
Out of
coming.
you? What was it? Were you being facetious or?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Any rate, that's, I think that we're not the only NAC that will be looking at how to generate an increase in their meeting attendance either, but we've had some really great agenda items and on this past year that has never flagged, and it would be just great to have more of our people.
Yeah, perhaps what we could do is have some folks that would attract people, council members, mayor, people that want to talk to them. And if we were to use our postcard mailing for our event, we could co-advertise those things and get people to come to the meeting for the first time to talk to a government official. That may be their introduction to the NAC.
Well, that sounds like a good place to start. Well, seeing if we can iron out the difficulties with the mailing list and a kind of a strategic use of the postcard and speakers.
Okay. Should we move on? Reggie, the Schiffler planting.
Thanks, Adam.
our regular meetings?
So with Schiffler Park, things are well underway to having a successful event with THPRD and Central Beaverton NAC. All 14 trees have been ordered and they're scheduled to be delivered to the park next Friday, the 18th. We're just under the budget, so Central Beaverton NAC is covering all the funds. We're not paying anything, but everything is kind of coming out as planned. We're still actively seeking planting volunteers, so if you're able and willing, I'd love to see you there. Or if you just want to come and visit and just enjoy the park as a regular patron during the time, that's always great too, just to see familiar faces. So to register for the event, I don't want to recite the whole URL again, but it's just thprd.org and navigate to like the one-day volunteer event opportunities. It's from 10 a.m. to 12:30, training, leadership, tools, and some snacks are provided. Let's see, what else?
Reggie,
Yeah,
through this event that you've been working with them to put on, is there a person in the Central Beaverton side that could repeat this process if they wanted to without your help in the future?
I think in the future, definitely. I really want to see trees planted in Schiffler Park, but I also want to see other neighborhoods gain the experience and skills to execute tree planting events, like just on their own terms. So providing this template is a good way to collaborate with other NACs and also build them up too as far as what their capacities are. For example, Central Beaverton did a informal tree giveaway in 2021. And this was shortly after Highland did one, and they actually got a lot of trees handed out to folks in the neighborhood, mostly Douglas fir, well, all Douglas firs and hemlocks. So that's going to be huge. Yeah, I think that's really it.
That's terrific.
Well, thank you for making that happen. And I had been meaning to sign up for the Schiffler event, and I'll get that done tomorrow. Okay.
Oh, sorry. I still think, like, as far as having other neighborhoods do the tree planting events, it would be best to have, Friends of Trees do it to support the neighborhoods that are in need of the support the most, where the NACs are not active, or if the skill set is not including natural area or planting events, that sort of thing. So I think we still should, as a community, be pushing for Friends of Trees to come in and do plantings in the neighborhood style, but also I hope that after this event concludes, that THPRD recognizes the successes and also potential for involving community members and proactively planting large maturing trees in established parks, so that maybe more events could happen hosted by THPRD directly, and those can serve more areas of the region, especially like unincorporated parts of the park district like Aloha, where there are even fewer tree planting services available.
And was event planning your time, Reggie, or is this a duplicate?
Not sure if I requested that, but I think we've talked about everything in the next couple of months, next few months. So unless anyone else has any ideas as far as event planning, it could be a good time to share, or during the visitor comments, anything either time is fine, sounds like.
Okay. One thing to be aware of, there was a request for the city manager to join us from one of the board members, and that request was made, but obviously we didn't get it in time. And the other thing, the folks at the memory care facility have asked for time in March, and I have approved it to present their new site plan that they need to do to move forward. So they will be with us in March. I don't know about the city manager, but I do know the other one for sure. And now let's move on to the A Year of Trees project. I see that we have a guest from Central Beaverton, and I'll give you the floor to present this.
Great, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Just following up on the tree planting at Schiffler, like I just wanted to say thanks so much to Reggie. I've been one of the main organizers on the CBNAC side. I just want to say like Reggie's experience has been invaluable. I've been trying to learn as much as possible, but his experience and like knowledge of like trees as well as like what they need has been really great to have. And with that, I will share my screen and talk a little bit about A Year of Trees. All right. So this is an idea that I had partly because of the Schiffler planting, actually. What it is an idea where, what if the city of Beaverton as a whole and its residents was challenged and encouraged to plant an ambitious amount of trees in one calendar year. And to pick a number, let's say 10,000, which comes out to be about 1 for every 10 residents. Any tree in this project idea, if the city were to adopt it, any tree planted on public or private grounds within the city counts. We would especially want to focus on trees on areas that lack shade and are more susceptible to extreme heat. And at the end of this year, we would celebrate how many trees we planted together. We can showcase this impact by creating a map of the trees planted and documenting like what they're going to add to our community over the next 10 to 20 years. Things like shade provided, carbon captured, and probably other things that we could capture and showcase. So the idea is that this would be a City of Beaverton sponsored event that would last the full year. They would be the primary organization or entity responsible for managing, marketing, and sponsoring. And there are significant partnerships we could make along the way as well. For example, THPRD, obviously their expertise would be wonderful to have, and like the opportunity to plant in public grounds would need coordination with THPRD. We could see Beaverton School District get involved with providing places to plant trees, as well as incorporating, tree plantings within curriculum.
Rachel?
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew about Clean Water Services. They had done at some point in the past 1 million trees in the watershed.
Oh, that's great. Amazing.
And you might want to A, include them because they're a source of money,
Mhm.
and B, just look at what their program was.
Yeah, can you repeat the name of it?
Well, the Clean Water Services, the sewer utility and,
Oh,
and
okay.
wastewater utility, they did 1 million tree thing several years ago.
Got it. And is that citywide or countywide or?
Well, Clean Water Services is the sewer utility.
Mhm. Is it city-based
waste-
or?
Waste management, WM, is that it?
No,
Adam?
it's the sewer utility. It's literally Clean Water Services. It's a county facility that handles
Oh, it's
Okay, county.
sewage and runoff water. And they did, it looks like it was 2014, they did 1 million tree event. And they're so big that they cover the whole watershed. So it's
Right.
Hillsborough, you know, all the municipalities down to the edge of the county
That's
are in the
awesome.
Clean Water Services service area. So you might go have a look at that, and there might be some things you can reuse and also get their money.
Yeah, that would be
and
great.
Reggie's doing a twig grant. I don't know if you've talked to him about that, but
Mm-mm.
we are preparing to do one, but it's another source of funds.
That's great. That's great information to have. Yeah, I will definitely add that to the groups that could be involved and partnered with in this. Some of the other groups that we were thinking would be great partners would be Friends of Trees, as well as OSU Extension Services, both to provide expertise, as well as, especially with Friends of Trees, like access to actual trees. And then we could also get sponsoring businesses involved, volunteer and neighborhood groups like the different NACs, and local nurseries as well. Then we wanted to address why is planting a bunch of trees in a calendar year the right focus to have as a initiative to propose. We want, because Beaverton has been losing its tree canopy and we don't currently have a strategy to replace lost trees, we thought this would be like a really great event to get more trees planted, as well as, you know, celebrate that we're planting them. The city of Beaverton would publicly affirm its belief that trees are important and demonstrate its commitment like in a tangible way. It would build community through participation and volunteerism after 2 years of COVID stress and isolation. And it would also highlight climate change in like a very public way and allow residents to take actual meaningful action in doing something about it. Like imagine, you know, I can imagine, you know, if I'm planting a tree at my house, for example, like I could plant a tree and be like, oh, like I added to this A Year of Trees project. Like this is not just about me wanting a tree in my yard. This is about us as a community doing something to make our community a better place. So both, I would say both CBNAC and Highland NAC are known for liking trees and wanting more trees. But it's not, this type of project is also aligned with the community vision that Beaverton had. Below you can see there are 5 main themes in the last Beaverton community vision that came out in 2016. And 3 of them, building community, improving mobility, and enhancing livability, are really supported by this A Year of Trees project. So under building community, we would see that, you know, it would foster and promote a common sense of community identity. It would improve the look and feel of the city. In terms of mobility, it would make Beaverton more pedestrian and bike friendly. I certainly know, like, walking around in the summer, especially on those 117-degree days that we had last year, you know, any part of the sidewalk that doesn't have trees, you can really feel it. And it would also enhance livability. Some of Beaverton's goals are to be a national leader in sustainable practices and programs and create walkable neighborhoods with convenient and safe access to amenities. And this type of project, A Year of Trees, would enhance all of these things that are outlined in Beaverton's current community vision. This project would measure success in a few ways. The primary metric would be the numbers of trees planted. Some other success measures would be the number of volunteers who planted trees on public grounds. You could imagine, you know, events like the Schiffler Park project being replicated all throughout different neighborhoods at different parks, getting volunteers activated and interested in planting more trees. Some other success measures would be like, where did we plant these trees? Like, did we add significant amounts to places that currently don't have enough tree coverage? And the last would be like ease of residents to register their own trees that they planted. Oops. Well, I guess we're ready. So yeah, so that is the idea behind a year of trees. And what I came to ask for is whether Highland NAC would want to support a resolution in support of a year of trees as an official city project. CBNAC passed a resolution this Monday in support of it. So the next steps will be going to the Climate Action Task Force and discussing the idea with them. And we would love to have Highland support as well.
Reggie, do you have a motion to make?
Yeah, I know we'll have space for the discussion, but leading up to that, I'd like to, well, I'll move to support the Year of Trees project as an official city project on behalf of the Highland NAC.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion.
I'm thinking this is a really nice project, and I'm wondering if it should, a presentation should go to BCCI, where you can get representatives from all the neighborhoods.
Oh, that's a great idea. Are you the BCCI rep for
Yeah.
the SNAC? What's the best way to make that happen?
Contact Lonnie Parr,
Okay.
Just ask it on the agenda.
and she is the city liaison for that group and can help with the agenda.
Perfect. And would that, what exactly, what would BCCI sponsor the idea or help get it to city council, or what would be the ask to make of BCCI? I don't know that much about them.
But they have a representative from each of the active NACs. They currently have a member that's working on a collaborative effort that Reggie can tell you a little bit more about the tree part, but that committee is interested in kind of collaborative projects in general. I think the timing is good.
Perfect.
And then I don't know how much time you have, but this is a visioning year, and the visioning committee is doing their outreach, and they might.
I'm actually on the VAC.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Terrific. So you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
That's great.
And Rachel, the only thing I have to say is, I don't know if the 10,000 number is the right number.
Mhm.
It might be too low. I don't know if you want to set a number that we can easily get to, or if you want to have a stretch goal and not quite making it's okay. But I don't know if you've thought about the, could we get more than that done?
Yeah, so I pretty much just based 10,000. I just was like, all right, what if 1 in 10 people in the city planted a tree? What would you suggest as maybe 10,000 is like our minimum, but what would you suggest as like a good stretch goal, or what is in the range of feasibility?
Well, if you included other native plants, you might be able to make the number much higher. And not everything is about the tree. There's an understory too. And there's areas where a tree wouldn't fit, but a bush that might get large format would still sequester carbon and fit. So it's not 100% about tree canopy. It's ground cover is good too. So, and sometimes ground cover can be cheaper than a tree. But I don't want to muddy the waters any, but maybe the sustainability, the action committee can think of a goal. And one other thing that we did was really kind of nice. Reggie had a planting with a bunch of high school students that came and helped us, and they named the trees.
Oh, nice.
And we should have kept better records of what they planted, but they gave them all names.
Yeah, one of the ideas that's come up is like, what if we could keep count and like, I planted a tree, my tree was number 4028 or something, right? And like you get to like, it's a sense of like adding up like, oh, here's the tree that I planted. It was this number and this number of trees that we planted. But yeah, I like the idea of naming also.
And further discussion on the motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
I
All right. I will get a letter out on that.
Awesome.
And
Thank you so much.
If your target audience is the city council,
Mhm.
I can write a letter to that effect. If your target audience is the climate team, we'd be happy to help you with maybe a joint meeting of NAC members from Highland and Central Beaverton to influence them. And we also just need an update on how they're doing. And we could potentially do a joint meeting with them to
Yeah,
discuss your program.
that would be great. Yeah, so I think the ultimate goal is to get this in front of city council. And I've requested time to present it at the March meeting to the Climate Action Task Force to help get their support as well. But yeah, I think a joint meeting would also be beneficial. I like that idea.
All right, anything else on this?
That's
This
it
is
for me.
awesome, Rachel.
Thank you for coming to join us.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it.
All right, our next agenda item is the city update. And Elena, would you like to give it?
Yeah, okay, so the first thing is an update to Beaverton's community vision, which is one of the city's guiding tools to help inform city priorities, and that's underway. So the community vision is a citywide project with input from community members that provides a framework for helping to determine what kind of community we want for the future. The Visioning Advisory Committee, or the VAC, is the volunteer group that leads outreach efforts and the primary authors and accountability partners for the plan. So the current plan consists of outreach to community members, surveys, virtual and live events, and other participation. Goals include involving the city's population in the process, a focus on intentional outreach to traditionally underrepresented groups, being responsive to the changing needs of the community, and developing a final product that will be useful for city council and staff. The original community vision plan was adopted by the city council in 2010, and the latest update in 2016 included 5 goals and 104 actions. Milestones are compiled and shared each year. And the 2016 vision realized and inspired many city projects that have been completed or are currently in development. The current update will reflect outcomes that will inform the city's vision in a new and different way. And you can learn more at www.beaverton.org/vision. And I can send the link in the chat after the updates. And then the next thing is the Beaverton City Council election filing is underway. Beaverton residents interested in running for election to the Beaverton City Council can obtain a candidate's filing handbook. The deadline for filing is Tuesday, March 8th at 5 p.m. So the 4 city council positions elected at large are open. Councillor positions 1, 2, and 5 will be nominated at the primary election and elected at the general election to serve a 4-year term. At the primary election, the 2 candidates with the most votes for each position will proceed to the general election ballot. If one candidate receives a majority of all votes casted, then that candidate alone is nominated to the general election ballot. The candidate with the majority of votes at the general election is elected. Counselor position 3 is a vacant position due to resignation with 3 years remaining on the unexpired term for this office. Candidates must be 18 years of age by the election date and a qualified elector of the state and have lived in the city limits 6 months prior to the election date. The candidate's filing handbook with requirements for petition and signatures can be obtained from the city elections office at the Beaverton City Hall or at the website, which is www.beavertonoregon.gov/elections. The primary election day is May 17th, 2022, and the general election is November 8th, 2022. And then lastly, tune into city council meetings for discussions and decisions on important city topics. This month, agenda items planned include presentations on the Comprehensive School Resource Officer Review, Milliken Way project, and the Downtown Equity Strategy update. Work sessions include a review of the legislative bills, capital improvement plan priorities, and reimbursement districts. The City Council will also review and discuss 2-year strategic goals identified in late 2021, along with the priorities work plan. And the upcoming City Council meetings are February 16th and February 22nd. And then there is another link for the meeting agendas and minutes, which I will send in the chat.
All right, any other questions?
Thank you, Elena.
Of course.
All right, hearing nothing, we are barreling towards being done early. Are there any announcements or final requests from the other board members? All right. With that, we're adjourned, and thank you everyone for coming, and we'll see you next month when we'll have the memory care facility and maybe the city manager if we can get them.
Looking
All
forward
right.
to it. It'll be exciting.